I lost job, I lost my business, I lost everything I owned. I was literally sleeping on a floor. I lost my daughter in 2020. Uh, that's the day I realized that I had no power.
And then one day my daughter said that, oh, this broke my heart.
Mm, yeah.
Ooh, she said that,
Welcome to Unfiltered Conversations with
Do you know
Etina.
he's in control? If it's not about Christ, then I'm not involved. It's either you're hot, lukewarm, or cold. Lukewarm or cold. It's either you're hot, lukewarm, or cold. If it's not about Christ, then I'm not involved. I hope you know that my Lord is in control of everything that is around me.
So really, it is the responsibility of parents to ensure that they cultivate an environment, a relationship with Christ that will ensure that their children will be recipients of blessings that way. Sometimes the blessing will miss you and then it will go to your children. So love your children enough to want the best for them. Because why would you want to put innocent souls at risk because you want to be disobedient today? Yeah, it's that is the best thing you can do for your children, really, as far as I'm concerned. Change your ways, change your life. They will emulate it, they will copy that. You are going to create a repertoire with God, a relationship where He can say, this is my daughter with whom I am pleased. And as a result, your children will be blessed. If I believe there is, my family are not Christians. We never went to church on Sundays. I don't know how my mom managed, but somewhere in the 19 what I forgot, she found Christ. And today, two of her children are born again. We are three. The third one did not grow up with her. And the only way or the only thing that I see why we are set apart, I'm not talking set apart in terms of financially, because sometimes people put that money with the blessings of Christ. It's the same thing. Yeah, the reason why we are set apart in that sense that we want to follow Christ is because of the investment that our mother did. I remember at my mother's passing, we went to the village, and one of my friends said something that I was not happy with, but I understand where she comes from and why she would say that. And then she would say, "Oh, your mom worked so hard," because she was a domestic worker and all of this thing. And it's like she has nothing to show for it. And they meant it in the sense of material stuff because they could see modest house where she was staying at the village, and not really having a lot of cattle and things that people would typically associate with being blessed. But I was like, if only you knew how blessed she was, because if any of my children accept Christ in their life, that is the biggest achievement
ooh,
a
trust
parent
me,
can. Yes.
it's the best. Like, look, I have two teenagers. My daughter is
Mm,
15 and my son is 13. So I became born again first, and the following year, when we had our first crossover in church ever, I also didn't grow up in church and stuff like that. I didn't have that foundation as much as my grandfather was a pastor and
mm,
Christian and all of that stuff. But yeah, so when they decided themselves that
mm.
they are giving their lives to Christ,
Yeah.
it's the biggest joy of my life. They are
Mm.
consistent, they have their own personal relationship with God.
People say,
You
yeah.
know, especially in the UK, things on this side, they are very
Yeah.
bad. In
It's not
schools,
conducive.
in schools
Yeah.
and stuff like that, it's crazy. So if they didn't have this foundation, my children would have been doomed. Do you
Yeah.
understand? They would have been doomed. And so I just feel like I'm blessed that I had the opportunity to become born again so that my kids, because they've seen both sides. I was also
Mm,
like you, drinking,
mm.
bringing men in the house, what, strangers, parties, house parties, left, right, and center. Like, that was me. Do you
Yeah.
understand? And my kids were
Yeah.
there, you know.
Mm.
She used to pray for me all the time, and she used to always go and cry in her room every time people would come over at the house, you know. And
Yeah.
she was, we don't understand We don't understand how it's affecting our children.
Yes.
We are here
Yes.
being reckless and thinking, yeah, my kids have it all, like materialistic
Yeah.
things and stuff like that. They have food, they
Yes.
have what. But then what you're doing, you are hurting them, right?
Yeah.
And then that inner child starts from there. Their traumas start from there.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I never knew the kids were affected that way.
Mm.
The kids are not
Yeah.
speaking up, but it doesn't mean that they're not heard, you know?
They are
So,
very.
and then, and then I started thinking of things like I was putting them in danger. Do you know how many strangers men were living there and sleeping everywhere? And they could have
Yeah.
been molested.
Why is
Do you
it like I'm
understand?
just seeing my plate when you're saying this thing?
Oh, you
It's
know,
as if I was
so
there in your life.
so it's
Yeah.
not like I always tell
Mm.
people, it's not like I'm trying to control your life or I feel like I'm better now because I'm born again. I've been there. I'm talking from experience. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So yeah, so when you tell people, you know, I've advised some of my friends, do you understand? Like, just be mindful of all the people that you always bring in your house. I'm not saying don't have parties or whatever, but you know, these kids are taking
Yeah.
it
Don't
all
have
in.
parties. Mm. And the thing of being a parent is that you have no other choice but to change because they don't listen to what you're saying. They look at what you're doing. So if you want your child to react a certain way, you will have to. I have seen, for example, my daughter would lose her mind and start screaming at the brother, and become very vocal in
Yeah.
her approach. Yes, and then I realized that is me. That's what I do, and
Mhm.
that's where she gets. So if I want to see a change in how she addresses people when she's upset or they are not doing what she wants, then I have to change how I address people when they go against it because she's just imitating what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you want to raise your children to be good people, and in this day and age where life is short, um, our mothers or my mom lived up to 62. Yeah, 62. She was able to see her children grow up, and she was able to, sort of, we are on our own, able to fend for ourselves. But not everyone is that lucky. And you need to deposit Christ in your children's life so that when you are not there, they do not fall and rely on other things and other people. It's important for them to know that when I'm facing a problem, I pray. If a test is too hard, I pray for concentration so that
Yeah.
I'm able to do things. Just make it to them already. Did you pray? So who bullied me? What did you create a
Yeah.
standard for them that for everything? Because the reason why we were falling back on our own power and our own understanding is because that is how we were raised. Like,
Yeah.
dust yourself off and get it moving. No one is coming to save you. No, Jesus is actually coming to save you. So what I try to do now is with my children, I if they have any issue as simple as it is, answer, did you pray about it? Did you pray
Yeah.
about it? Did you pray about it? If they say, Mommy, I have a headache, I'll give you the tablet, but I'll still pray for you so that you know that when there's a problem, we are trying to create a system in the house where if you have a problem, you go to Christ. You need money, you pray first, you don't run and go and borrow money, that type of thing. I'm
Yeah.
just trying to
That's really
get
good.
it in your mind that when you have a problem, you pray. You don't seek
Yeah.
outside. Yeah.
That's really
When you
good.
said that with your children, I remember when I moved to Okahanja, we had nothing. Hey,
Mm.
we slept on a thin mattress like this. The place was literally empty. But we were so happy to just be together because for the prior month to that, my kids had to be somewhere else because I didn't have accommodation in Windhoek.
Mm.
So when they came to Windhoek, to Okahanja, we had nothing, not a fridge. So if you buy food, you have to buy what you're eating, and then that's it. So we were really at this stage. I was really struggling financially. I was
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But anyway, so I remember one things got better after that, obviously. And one day, we're talking with my daughter and it's like, do you remember how we used to sometimes not have enough to eat, and now we are having all of this? And I was like, yeah, it's because that time we never used to pray. Like, she made that analysis herself that when we were not praying, we did not have it, and now that we are praying, we have. And that's when every time when they want to eat quickly and they want to finish their dinner, I'm like, okay, it's either you pray to thank God for the food or you have to pray for food tomorrow. It's one of the two. You have to decide, are you thanking him for the food or are you gonna, yeah. So, but I really believe that I have a responsibility with my children, not just for my own salvation. Yes, I want to save myself, but I also love my children enough that I don't want to see them perish. And that's what motivates me to keep going.
Yeah.
And I know that mothers out there really tend to love their children even more than they love God. Then let that be a catalyst. I'm not saying love your children more than you love God, but if you do, at least love them enough to want to save them, if that's making sense.
Yeah. And the whole thing is the only way to get into that space is you need to find Christ first, because then, do you understand? Because now, like you said earlier, we need to set examples, right? And my kids had a choice even back then to want to have followed the example of me with my reckless living. But they have made a decision at that time already, as young as they are.
Yeah.
They said that, Mom, I'm never going, like both of them, they said they are never going to smoke and they're never going to drink alcohol. Do you understand? And that was me still doing the stuff. Yeah?
Yeah.
But those kids already decided then that's not
Yeah.
how they want to live, without having seen the transformed me now. But back then already, that's the decision that they made. Now imagine the joy they felt when
Yeah.
mommy is now this whole new, you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
who know, I guess then my daughter said she used to pray. Imagine
Yeah.
my child was praying for me back then when I was
Yeah.
a whole mess. Do you understand what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So parents,
So
let's do
where do you
better.
think they
Let's
got
stop
that
being,
influence from?
yeah.
Where do you think they got the influence from? Like your children, how did they start to? Because my kids would, every time they go to my mom would have like devotion and things with them. So I believe that's where they picked up there, and they would
Oh,
want to now.
okay. So
So where do you think your
yeah, no,
children got it?
with me it's actually very strange because I was a flight attendant, so I was in and out, right? I wasn't really much at home, and so it's like they were always staying with nannies and stuff like that. And even in holidays, and my mom passed away when I was 16, so I didn't really have people. Like my kids were always just with me. Do you understand? Um, so but then they would go to church with the kids in the flats. I think maybe that's where they got it from. Like
Yeah.
wherever we were staying. Sometimes when you just have a calling, I feel like my
Yeah.
kids just had God already just
Yeah.
put that in them
Put it.
naturally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Naturally, I really do believe that. So, but then, like I said, it helped because some Sundays they were going to Sunday church services, whatever, Sunday school and stuff like that, without me even being the one that encouraged it. But their peers would like go to church and they would tag along. So maybe that's where
Yeah.
they picked up a few things here and there for them to be. Yeah.
Yeah. Because someone is not gonna love someone they don't know, and maybe then that's where the responsibility really lies on the born again Christians or believers to we keep our salvation to ourselves a lot. I don't know, it's like you want to be the only one that is saved, and you want to stay away from those people, and you
That's
tell
so
your kids
sad.
they cannot play with those kids. And what if your children could be the ones who would spark the conversation in those children, or even you that is avoiding your neighbor that is supposedly very sinful because of whatever. I'm just saying that maybe we need to do more in creating that conducive environment for people to be exposed to messages about Christ, like what you're doing now. I
Yeah.
think that this is uh, a platform that is accessible to people who are not even born again to be able to
Yes.
hear. And yeah,
And that's
so
the whole
yeah,
point. For me, that's the whole point, you know. It's like I don't get it when, okay, like churches, for example, when they do their evangelism and stuff like that, right? Why do you want some churches, they are inviting people that are already born again to come to church, but the person is
yeah,
already saved? Like, you are supposed to reach
yeah,
those that need. Do you understand?
and
And
yes,
and another thing is, I feel like we are such hypocrites. I'm just saying, us generalizing, as a Christian community, you forgot where you used to be. Now you're
yes,
out there judging the people. You know,
other
you've
people,
been in that
yeah,
space. Do you understand?
yeah,
God had grace
mhm,
for you, you
yes,
know.
you got
So
lucky.
that
Yeah,
same grace, put it onto the
yeah,
people as well. Do you understand? So we
yeah,
really need to do better. We need to be better ambassadors of Christ on this earth. I think we are failing a lot. And
yeah,
if we are struggling, just ask. I always, that's one of my prayers. I always go like, Lord, help me to become a better ambassador of Christ on this earth.
yeah,
Honestly, you know,
yeah,
we can do better. We haven't arrived. We'll never arrive.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I mean? So,
yeah. Eh, and I think most of us, or what I have seen, the fear is always like, I am not saved enough.
mm,
I have not reached that level of holiness to be able to go and spark a conversation like that with someone else. Or when you were saying that children should really find Christ, I felt like that is a big responsibility
yeah,
to put on it. If anything, they can get lucky
yeah.
and find Christ and make the decision. Children are not very difficult people, to be honest, because it's like a tree. If you are giving it water, if you are giving it fertilizer, if you are at a infant stage, they are going to bloom and grow. It's
Mm,
almost impossible that uh, they will not bloom, right? So
yeah.
it is. I felt a strong edge. It's almost like my heart is even aching now that we are leaving these people to just
Figure it out.
yeah, and they
Just figure
can't.
it out, you know?
Yeah, how will they figure it out? Just find
Yeah,
Christ where? Like, just become born again? How? From which influence? That is coming
exactly.
from where? If social media is telling me that loving Christ is stupid and there are pastors who are
Mm,
raping people supposedly and this and that. So I just feel like we really need to do more with younger children so that they don't this the seed is planted at a young age already.
so,
Uh, and
starting
if
with
you can,
ourselves, right? It goes
yes,
back to
and
us. We need to set the example.
yeah, and if you cannot get to the, so I say, okay, how many children can you get to? So let's say you can get to 10 children. But if you go to 10 adults who have multiple children, each maybe has five or two or three,
Mm,
and you transform the adult, that one person that you chose, that person will take on the job to transform the children.
yeah,
I don't know, am I making
yeah,
sense?
yeah.
Like, because I was thinking maybe doing Bible studies at school and all of these things, but I'm thinking that if you get to the parent, because
Mm,
I God just had to get to me,
yeah,
and now He has gotten to my kids.
yeah.
He has gotten to my husband, or I don't know. My husband and I, it's weird. It's like we were both seeking at the same time. It's like,
Wow.
yeah, one morning we just stood up and like, okay, let's go find a church. And we tried several churches. Like we see people dressing up to go to church. It's like, oh wait, can we come with you? And then we
Yeah,
go and "Ah, this is different. No. And then finally we found one, and it's
yeah.
Afrikaans, and we didn't understand, but we just yeah
Wow.
got
You just feel
there.
like, okay, this is where you need to be planted. Yeah.
Yeah, God came to us in, He was just really amazing to our family. I cannot even imagine how he restored us. It's impossible. We're all so far gone, and yeah, now it's like I even forgot I used to be that person. I'm a new
Yeah.
creature, set
Yeah,
apart.
we are. But I
Yeah.
believe, I know that, like you said earlier, we, I had to go through everything that I went through for a time as now. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, what I'm doing is, I understand why I had,
Mm,
like, I just understand. It makes sense now, right? Because
mm,
people's lives, women's specifically, I'm called for the women, I have that.
mm,
But then specifically those women who are still in that space I used to be in. Do you understand?
mm,
So I'm more relatable. My personality also by nature, I'm not a judgmental person, right? So the way I
mm.
approach situations, I won't be like, you're sinning, you need to do this. Blah, 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 blah. No, no, no. I'll tell you, listen, calm
Yeah.
down, chill out, relax.
Mm,
Come
yeah.
to God. Whatever you're telling me right now, go to your room
Take it in.
and have a
Mm,
conversation with God. The same way, like you're talking to me,
mm,
things like that. You understand? I just have a grace, like God just gave me that thing. Um,
mm.
I believe I have a gift of what is this? Encouragement. That's like my
Yeah.
number one thing that comes naturally. Even before
Mm,
I became born again, people always used to come to me. As much as I was
mm.
a story lorry, I don't even know how they how they just trusted this person to constantly come with their stories. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. Listen,
Yeah.
Cynthia, I just want to ask one last question before we close off. Wow, did you imagine we would go this far?
Yeah.
This far? Yeah, no, but yeah, listen, I'm really grateful that you could make it, and this was amazing. I know it's gonna bless a whole lot of people. These are the type
Mm,
of conversations we need to have in this current season and this end times that we are in. You know what I mean? Real, raw,
yeah.
authentic, honest conversations without filter. You know what I mean?
Mm,
So I just want
yeah.
to ask you one last question. Um, what is your purpose?
Oh, it's to what I'm inclined to do. What I have really noticed is that I do not waver or beat around, or I'm not scared of truth.
Mm,
And because of that, um, there there are constantly honest conversations taking place around me. Offensive ones, maybe something they could offend some people sometimes.
yeah.
Um, but I believe that my purpose is to bring honesty and truth into
Mm,
situations, into to make people really go here into
mm,
the heart, and it's I have the gift of discernment, discerning spirits, and
mm,
what, and so it's if someone comes to me being glamorous, and that veil falls off very quickly because I can see.
mm,
And it's very then easy for this person to expose their truth. And I think
mm,
that's where transformation comes from. When you are exposed to the truth about you, it's easier to, and I do this with myself as well. And it's weird. It's like every time when I'm probably advising, or I it turns back to me, it's like, but you're also doing this thing, aren't
yeah.
you?
So you're talking
Yeah.
to
So
yourself. Mm,
yeah. So I really believe that my purpose is just to carry people who go through situations that seem impossible,
mm,
to to be that no judgment, so to say. My truth bears no judgment, by the way. It's just truth. This is sin. I don't think you're a terrible human being, but your action, this one is sin, type of thing. So yeah, I have been blessed that people would want to speak to me and that we can get to the foundation of their truth. And I think it's easy to move forward when you know your truth. Some of us take forever to even get to know. It's like it takes you 20 years to even know that you are a story lorry, like you just said. And then you keep in that scene and you think you are just fine doing it. So yeah, my purpose is just getting to the truth about
Wow,
things.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful. That's
yeah.
amazing. That's really beautiful. And any last words, especially to the inner girl, like the girl that that still needs to heal. Like, yeah, just
Um, I don't know. Healing, does someone really ever heal completely? Because life is
it's a
forever
journey.
evolving.
I think the
Yeah,
healing is also just like a journey, because
yes,
new things will always still come that will hurt you,
yes.
that you need to heal from.
That
So
you
it's
need
it
to,
yeah,
yeah.
but
So
just to get started.
yeah, acceptance is key. You need to accept the raw truth about yourself,
Yeah,
even the ugly parts.
yeah.
But even then, you also need to accept the raw truth about yourself, the great parts, because what happens is sometimes in exposing your truth, and you're like, oh my goodness, I do this in such a bad way, you forget that you also have nice things going on about you, that maybe you are loving, you're a kind person, you're kind of all these things. So getting to your truth must not become your identity. So once you know that, oh, I do tell other people stories to other people, do not now label yourself and say, I'm a story. Just say, I have
Mm,
an issue with this thing, and it's a thing that I'm going to work on, or I'm
yes.
going to give it time to fix. So to really not be so difficult on yourself, because life events orchestrate themselves sometimes to put you in this place. But as you identify that the things that happened in your life have put you there, do not become hopeless and say, because I was placed here, this is where I'm gonna be. You
Mm,
need to keep that hope and faith in Christ that He's going to create another day for you, a new day for you, and deal with this days or this current situation, this thing that you are struggling from today is not going to exist tomorrow. That when you see other people happy, when you see people getting married, when you see people having children, getting their jobs or dream businesses, that can also be you. That because sometimes when we go through a lot of hurt, you start to just think that is all that is meant for you. The nice things are for other people, but then you need to start to see that those things are also for me, and then you must expect them as well.
yeah.
So yeah, don't assume now because I have been dealt this and I need to heal from this, that hurt and joy can coexist. You can
Mm,
be grieved and happy at the same time. You don't have
mhm,
to choose one. You don't have to say, oh, I was raped, so I must just be miserable the whole time. No,
mhm.
you would go, you can grieve in the morning and find joy in the evening, or even at the
Yeah,
very same time.
yeah,
So do not suppress uh, the good things because of the bad stuff that has happened to you. Let them also just come in the abundance that the bad one came. Why are you leaning on to the negative, right? So you
mhm,
just allow yourself space to also um, seek goodness, blessings, and all of, and expect it in your life, because I've really seen that with hurt people, they start to dress. I'm a, the identity become I grew up like this, or I come from poverty. That becomes a thing that the cap
yeah.
that
It's
you start
true.
to wear. Yeah, and then you want pity the whole time. You
Mm,
are seeking. It's like you want to feed the wound. You don't
mm,
want to move past it. It's like you want to keep just getting ointment and what, and people should look at how terrible it is. So what I do, for example, when I'm going through a terrible thing, right? I go through my emotions and then I say, okay, it's enough for today. Now I'm choosing these feelings now. So I choose. I don't wait for the bad feeling to go away. I choose for the I decide, okay, I've cried now. For the next 2 days, I'm not crying. And even when the pain is trying to come up, I just, because your body uh, gets used to that. Like, oh, it's time to cry. It's 8 o'clock. Why haven't you cried yet? You look at what these people are saying about you. Oh, this thing is still. Oh, your mother is still dead. Come on, cry. Please be hopeless and all of that. But you can just decide to choose other. You even the Bible says that you must manage your mind and your thoughts and all of this. So you can just decide. Okay, I've cried. And every time when the devil is trying to make you, but how can you want to feel great? You just went through this. That is just the devil trying to drag you back into the pain. And I think that social media currently is perpetuating that what do they call it? Safe space.
Yeah.
No safe space, I believe, is really a dangerous plot by the devil to keep people in their misery.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I hear you. It's you are getting attention because you have something wrong with you. You you are getting audience based on what is wrong with you, and you want to keep that, and you want to simmer in it, and it becomes your identity, and you don't even know who you are anymore. You are now that person who has that problem.
And here's the thing: those people don't even care. They are
Mm.
laughing at you. They are
Even the
like,
safe
you are
space.
their entertainment. As much as
Yes,
you are there crying, exposing your stuff, this and that, they just want to know more. They are pretending. They don't care, honey. Nobody
yes,
cares.
even when they're saying it's a safe space, please, it's not. So
God is
really,
your
you
safe
need
space.
to.
Go in your corner, go pray.
Yes, exactly. You cannot heal. And sorry, please, God forgive me for saying this. You cannot heal by constantly narrating your bad experience,
Yeah.
because your body does not know that this thing is not happening. The moment if you have PSD or whatever, the post-traumatic what distress, you realize that the moment you think of that occurrence, the pain you feel in your body, it's almost like it's happening again. Now imagine entertaining a conversation and a thought every day. You are speaking about the negative or the bad things that you have gone through, thinking that it's a means of healing. No, I don't believe that. A means of healing is acceptance that I went through this bad thing. It was a event, maybe could be an event. It was what to call it, a space in my life, and now I am here now. Now imagine God is blessing you. You have maybe a new job, you have a new husband, you have a new family, and you keep going back to that place where you were taken advantage of, where you were mistreated, where you were. It's like you are throwing his blessings in his face. Like, oh no, I don't care that you have blessed me now. I'm just is it even entitled? Are you entitled to think that you should not go through bad stuff? Or what is it? I'm wondering, like, what is it? You're like, oh no, I went through that, so I
Yeah.
can never know. Like, really, just get over it. I'm sorry if it sounds
Yeah. No, I think mainly what I'm getting out of your message is, no, mainly what, listen, unfiltered, this is wrong. We say we say what's so what I'm getting from your message mainly is, we are able to control our emotions. So
yes.
don't be stuck in a
Mm,
mindset. What I always say is victim mindset, right?
that
You
yes.
feel like you're, like you say, like entitled, that people owe you, like you are not supposed to go through this. You have this perception about yourself that everybody needs to to understand you. Do you understand?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
what you're saying is you are able to overcome someone who hurt you, like you are able to overcome that scenario without you having to go into a shell and cry and feel sorry for you. Okay, maybe have that moment for a few minutes, but snap out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Very much.
we have control over our emotions, basically.
Yes, we do, and I I don't think it's necessary, because even now I have a big ache, and please don't feel guilty for this. I have a big ache in my heart right now, uh, because of the conversation we had, especially like how did you grow up, and uh, I don't mind telling it, but
Yeah.
I limit the amount of times I'm telling it.
Yeah.
I decide when I'm allowing this feeling to come because it's serving a purpose for somebody, or whatever the case may be.
Mm.
I do not. Maybe it's a crazy thing. I remember even now. Sorry that I'm extending the conversation, but
Mm.
during my mom's passing, every person who shows up to our house wants to start a crying
Session.
session with me.
Yeah.
Every person who shows up wants me to. I was like, okay, so you want me to cry the whole day? I don't have children to feed. I don't have business to attend to. I don't have a funeral to organize. I mean, it's crazy how badly people want to engage people in their negative feelings. Like it's and I would even avoid certain phone calls because I know if I pick this up, it's going
Yeah.
to be about it. And I'm trying to really have a strategy of, if you go through something terrible, have a strategy of how you're going to manage that period, because I think it's very critical during that time as you are going through that thing, how you manage it. Because if you let the world just run with it, you just find yourself depressed, you find yourself not getting over the situation because it's like you are being placed there. The conversations around you are around, it's about that. The You are getting pittiness, you're getting, people are understanding why you are not doing the work you should have been doing. You become unproductive. There are just so many, you need to grieve, you need to do all these things, that but this new age of just letting people be in their negative feelings all day, while the Bible says the new day, be joyful
Yeah.
in it. Like it's not, yes, grief, but also, or go through whatever about your situation, but you need to say, okay, I went through it, I accept and I forgive, and now I'm moving on. Don't wear the cap, the molested person. It's not even necessary for people to see you in the street and, oh, that's the lady who was, oh, aren't there other positive things that can be known about you? Why can't that be the center of the conversation? I don't know, I just feel social media is dragging people in depression because of it's almost a hyper interest in the negative experiences of other people. Like no
Yeah.
one is interested to hear how you overcame, how you got, these great marks, or how you got this great job, or whatever. They want to hear how terrible was it first. Tell us. And
Yeah,
then
it's true.
tend to relieve and stay there and stay there. So if if you have something to heal from, give it to Christ. He will heal you from it and move on. You give it, you move. You give it,
Yeah.
you move. Another bad situation come, you give it to Christ, you move. You won't even believe where the peace is coming from.
Yeah.
You won't understand. Why am I not going crazy in this situation? God got
Yes,
you. Like he will sort it out.
that's
You
so
don't have
true.
to. Yeah, I'm just thinking that God could really probably just be so disappointed with us, how we go back to situations that he saved us from, and then we are just there. I'm like, but I took you out of that thing. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. It's like
But then,
we are very quick, you see, we are very quick to forget, right?
yeah,
Especially when another situation hits you, then you start doubting again. You start like wondering, why is it happening to you? But not remembering all the other times God took you out of all the other situations. You know what I mean? Like you just, it's as if how, yeah. But I think that's, I guess, just how, look at the Israelites. I always, you know
Exactly.
how they were
Exactly.
taken out of Egypt, right? And then
Mm.
they experience all these miracles and what, the sea and everything. So that work just a couple of days after being now in the
Mm.
wilderness, a small something such as you don't have food or whatever. Now you are
Mm.
complaining, yeah, take us back. You want to go back to slavery.
Yes, I mean most Namibians are still like that. By the way, they say no, especially like the age group of our parents, like 50, 60, 70.
Yeah.
They most of them think that the colonial times were better because they would say maybe things were cheaper or they were getting what for
Wow.
free. I'm like, you were
Okay,
limited.
it's actually
Yeah.
a serious thing, hey, come to think of it.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
why would you want to go back into a space where you actually didn't really have it better? Okay, but I guess it's because people are scared of the unknown.
Yeah.
So they would rather go
Oh,
back to that space of what they know, even though they know. I think that's why a lot of people stay in abusive relationships as well, because
yeah.
they
Or
would rather want to stay in the beating and the verbal abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, than getting out, trying a new thing because they're scared of, but now
well,
that new thing.
yeah, we do that all the time. I mean, even having a 8 to 5 job, it's like security. You don't
Yeah.
have to wonder what and you're not willing, even though God places a business on your heart, you're just like, I want,
Mm.
I want the convenience. So I think even with the during apartheid time, they had this convenience, and now it's like you
Mm.
actually have to work for your dreams. There, at that time, they were maybe getting stipends or whatever it is that they were getting supposedly for free or things were cheaper. Now you actually have to work harder. People maybe don't want to do that. They don't want to be like the Israelites. They had to work for their blessings, so to
Yeah.
say, be a certain way, obey certain commandments, do certain things. And they're like, no, there we just had to wake up and they'll give us food, even though you were slaving away all day. I don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, I come to think of it, this whole situation of it's good for people to speak about their problems, but speak and then shut up and then move on.
Move on.
I
Don't
Yeah,
dwell around it, because
don't.
the more you are dwelling around it, the more you are leaving that space for the enemy to do more. You know, he's
Yes,
not going to stop there, because now you are allowing it, that negativity of
yeah,
yours is just allowing him to do more, and you're going to be more miserable. Do you understand?
yes,
So,
exactly. I remember even there was a day we had breakfast with another couple, my husband and I, and we're just talking about the past, how we used to be, or in the world and stuff like that, things my
mm,
husband used to do. And when I was telling this story, I started to fume, like literally just become angry again. He is
mm,
sitting there being the most loving husband for the past how many what he didn't do anything to date, right? But I am having this conversation of what
wow,
he did. Now I'm feeling those feelings again. Now
imagine.
and that's why it's important that we really take circumstances, situations for what they are. At that time, it was bad, yes. It happened to me, yes. Okay, what now? I move. You don't have to, and that's why forgiveness is so important. And if
Mm,
you claim to have forgiven, why is it still hurting you so much? That's
yes,
when you realize that, okay,
that's when
I
you
see
realize.
there's
Yeah.
there's something is not right here. So it's our own undoing. Do not, rather foster, pay attention on the good things. What is great about this day today? What is great about the people around me? But yeah, this is human nature, and it's like we're
I know.
expected to be
And
like that. If someone says negative, something negative, you see, I only remember that one thing that the teacher said to me, that I look like a bitch, right, at school. But
Yeah.
the other teachers who would say positive things about me, have I told
Wow.
anyone
It's
about them?
crazy.
Do I even remember who it was and what they said? I don't, to be honest. And I'm sure there were teachers who would have said positive things, but because it was a negative thing, that thing is like,
You know what? You're just reminding me of something now. It's like, okay, I just recently found my person, finally. God.
yay, congrats. So are you engaged
Thank
or?
you. Yeah, so but anyways, it's like the other time when he's very like honest, and he doesn't beat around the bush, and he just tells it like it is and stuff, right? So then I would get triggered sometimes. So then the other day he said something, and then my reaction was towards the thing that I didn't like, right?
Mm,
Now he goes like, my love, why do you have selective thinking?
mm,
Like, why do you only pick and choose? What if I started off with the positive? Do you
mm,
understand? But then I heard it, but I didn't hear
mm,
it. I just heard that part that triggered me. And that's what I
yeah.
was now. It's reminding me of what you just said. Like, I guess we are just programmed to just, I don't know.
I want to change my story. I want an opportunity again for someone to ask me, how did you grow up? I want to see if I can find moments of joy, because I'm sure they were there. Many of them, in fact. And
Listen,
actually,
we're gonna have a part 2.
yeah, no, so that I can, because you keep telling yourself this story, and sometimes it's not even the truth. Your mind sometimes can lie, and then you tell it so many times, it starts to and that's now your truth. It becomes your truth. Psychologists actually, I don't even want to start talking about research and things, because I have no references and
Yeah.
the right words to use for this. But we most of the time remember things the wrong way. You would see that there are two people at an event. One would tell it this way, and another one would tell it this way. It's the same event, same conversation, same everything, and each person got a different meaning from it.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm.
So I don't want to rely on my memory anymore.
You know what? I
I mean,
think
like,
that's
yeah.
I'm actually gonna do that with myself as well. I think that's a very good, like, to do that introspection and think back and only try
Mm.
to remember the good stuff. I think I
And
want to do that as well.
what if that is actually our path to healing?
Yeah.
That
Instead
it's like,
of, you know how we are always saying, go back and think about the bad stuff that happened to you so that you can heal. What if it needs to be reversed?
yeah,
Start thinking
yes.
about the good stuff.
That is actually, I cannot imagine anything else that can work, to be honest. I believe that is,
Wow.
we have just
God
landed
just
on a
gave us a revelation, girl.
no, really, really, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
No, I can just, yeah, this is amazing.
Wow. Listen, this
Yeah.
is deep. This is deep.
Yeah. Because even when you say now your past, and you like, you want to wipe out everything great you did, all the achievements, because somehow you just pick when you were sleeping on the floor of your office and pick this, and then you pick this and you pick this, and then that is now, look at how terrible this was. But during that time you did amazing things. You were kind to
Wow.
people, you were all these other people were kind to you, and you are not even acknowledging that.
Even
Yeah,
when we are
no,
talking about ourselves and our stories, right? We will be like, yeah, I used to do this. I used to bring what I used to drink house parties, what. But then what about you used to bring people together? Do you
yeah,
understand? In the
mm,
midst of the chaos, like, yes, you
yeah,
are drinking, you are messing up, you are being reckless.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
what about that thing of, because that's what I
mm,
did. I always brought people together. Do you
yes,
understand? Like that
Yes.
joy, people are laughing, people are celebrating, people are talking to each other, they're interacting.
To make
Why
people feel
can't
good
I
about
say that part?
themselves. Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
can't I say that part?
Yeah. I don't know. It's the devil. I cannot think of anyone else because he's a liar and he wants you to. No. I want to retell. I want I want to go back and really just recapture my past because
Do
I
you
think
think
that
do you think do you think it's gonna be hard to remember the good times?
no, if my mindset is in that direction, and if what did you like about your childhood is a question, for example. Well,
Yeah. Oh, I think we need to end this conversation. Cynthia, I think we need to end this conversation. Okay, listen.
are you?
I think I think we need to end this conversation. We are now being cut off. I don't know if you are getting phone calls
Yeah,
on your end or whatever, but
yeah,
listen,
yeah.
before we end,
I
I
want.
just want you to quickly pray for us, please, before we just pray for
Okay,
the nation, whatever is on your heart right now. Yeah.
okay. Holy Father, I'm not going to close my eyes if it's okay with you.
However you
Yeah, yeah. I don't have to.
mm,
Thank you that you are in every moment, in every situation, that you are there throughout history, that you have been there before we were even born, when we were born, through the experiences that we have had, and that you you never abandon. You are there every day. You don't say it's enough. I have done my job. Um, we are just so grateful for the grace that you show us every day. And I just pray that you continue to expose to us truths about the lies that the devil tells us. That we as Christians especially really start to think like the new creatures that we are, that the new creations that we are, because we have been, yes, has been spent really in our lives where we are being conditioned, we are being uh, shaped into ways of thinking, into ways of doing, into ways of being a human that perhaps are not even according to your will or your word. May really this transformation that you have done to us, because you have transformed us, we are already new creatures, but may we start to really behave like that. May we really start to think like that. May we really start to perceive people uh, biblically or as per your will. May we forgo the worldview of what a Christian is. May we forgo the worldview of what is right. May we forgo the worldview of how to fix a broken soul, and really just step into your wisdom, tap into your knowledge, tap into your being, so that we create a new life for ourselves and for our families, where we have a new experience on a day-to-day basis, where lack of finances, for example, lack of material things will not be perceived as a thing to spoil your day, but rather that the presence of family, presence of loved ones, the presence of vegetation around us, the presence of love and joy, all of these things that we minimize really become what is important to us. May we start to favor and yearn for the gifts of the Holy Spirit, love, joy, gentleness, kindness, the spirit of long suffering. May we not assume blessings to be material things. May we really be transformed. May we be Christ-like. May we be more like you every day. I ask in this moment, Father, that whoever has not found you yet, that you place people in their place of work, that you place people in their school, that you place people in the places where they go shopping who are going to just bring a word to them that is going to catalyst or be a catalyst to finding more truth about you. This conversation that we had today also, let it just be um, a spark for someone to open their Bible and seek truth. May forgive us if we have said something that was not according to your will. Forgive us if we sinned in this conversation, Father, because many times we are not even aware of our shortcomings. Be with Etuna, be with this channel that she has created. Continue to bring subscribers to this channel. Continue to bring thoughts, words, actions that are going to bring more people to your kingdom. Continue to keep her here. I know that the devil attacks those who are trying to work for your kingdom. So, Father, I'm just praying for protection over her, physical protection, protection of the mind, protection of ideas, thoughts, everything. May it just be according to your will. When the devil tries to come and speak to her and say, this is not going to work, this concept is not what is going to transform the
Amen, I guess.
yeah, amen.
The devil is a liar. You see what he's doing, just what you prayed
Yeah,
for now.
yeah.
Wanting
I
to
was like,
interrupt
oh,
our prayer here.
no, but the channel is already open. It's not on the internet, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So piso.
yeah. But I
Listen,
really wish you the best. I saw
thank
your
you.
post uh, about this, I think last year. It was, did you start a WhatsApp group first?
Yeah, in
Was it
February,
first?
like Queens Rooted in Christ. Yeah, I have about almost
Yeah.
90 ladies on the platform. Yeah, right now.
Yeah. So I
Mm.
remember seeing it, and now I see that you have brought video content to the table. That's
Yeah,
good. It takes a lot of courage, I know.
yeah.
So well done, and I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. And it's about obedience. I always tell people, listen, I wouldn't be
Mm,
doing this if it wasn't for God's grace, you know?
yeah.
But then I've really learned over the past year
Mm,
to just be obedient. When he tells me something, if I need
mm,
confirmation, I will pray again over it. But he doesn't speak more than 3 times. When he says I need to
yeah.
do something, I just do it. Like now, listen, I could have made excuses. No, I don't have a laptop. I don't have a camera. I don't have the perfect platform. I don't have, right? But then God said,
Yeah.
get started. He's obviously going to provide all the other necessary things as
Yes.
time goes. But then the messages need to come out. Listen, do you know how many people's lives are just going to be already transformed just by this conversation that we had today?
Yeah.
You know how many people are going to have the desire, even at least towards wanting to have that thing of, let me also get to know this God that these two
Yeah.
women who
That
have
we are
been going
talking
through so
about.
much have
Yeah.
proclaimed here. I also want that. And that's the whole point, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So what yardsticks are you going to use?
Okay.
Seeing that we are a new creation, huh?
Mm.
So we are not going to. I don't know. You don't have to include this, but we are not going to look at views. Huh? You are not going to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's effective because it has views."
Yeah.
Even if one person is transformed, that is all.
Yes.
And we really need to see ourselves as tools in the kingdom of God. We feel like, in order, one person is a nail and that's it. They just have to go in once and that's it. That's their
Yeah.
position. And then now we look at the grinder and it's like, oh, I also wish I was a grinder. But
Yeah.
like, as long as you stay in obedience, like you said,
Yeah.
and God uses you for the purpose that He is using you, that's that's good enough. You don't have to do more. You don't have
Yeah.
to try and get more attention. You don't have to spark controversy. You don't have to. I know that there is the how.
Thank you for watching, and see you again next week with our next
Bye.
guest. Mwah.
Always put Christ in the center.